Welcome to the Government News Brief for Friday, May 27, 2016. In the news, IMF says Guyana's economy on solid footing, improved infrastructure for Essequibo, and national unity is the tool to move Guyana forward. I am Azim Khan, and stay tuned for the details of these and other stories. Thank you for staying with us. This is the Government News Brief. Here now are the details. The International Monetary Fund has reported that Guyana's economy is on solid footing. Here is that report.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan has reported that a team from the IMF recently visited Guyana and has confirmed that Guyana's economy is on a firm footing.
Generally, the economy is in good shape. Okay? That the economy grew by 3% last year, and that it is projected to grow by at least 4% this year. This clearly cannot be an economy that is on the decline, is sluggish, and so on. And as you said, the IMF is a neutral portion in this. And let me say that in growing by at least 4% this year, this would have been close to the average growth rate that the economy had achieved over the last decade.
Prime Minister Moses Nagamotu, during his address to hundreds of Barbadians on May 25 on the lawns of State House, New Amsterdam, said that Guyana must become a first-class nation.
Today, as I speak with you, all the countries that surround us are in trouble. The Brazilian president is facing impeachment, was replaced by a temporary president. Maduro in Venezuela, the conquistadores he thought he was, is shaking, and his country, his regime now is facing a meltdown. Suriname and Trinidad also are facing difficulties. Recently, the World Bank and the IMF recognized that Guyana is the only country in this part of the world that is standing solid, standing strong.
The Minister of Finance noted that the APNU-AFC government has been able to turn things around in Guyana over the past year. Continued prudent management of the economy was promised by Minister Jordan. Seneca Thorne reporting for the Government News Brief.
Through improved public infrastructure, government aims to see Essequibo realize its potential envisioned for it 50 years ago, as we hear in this next report.
Residents of Region 2 will continue to see development of their transportation networks. These efforts will create employment and major economic input for the region, Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson explained. The minister was at the time addressing residents at the recent flag-raising ceremony in the region.
The focus will be on stimulating micro-farms and small-scale agro-processing initiatives to see Essequibo live up to the potential envisaged for it 50 years ago. Better roadways and bridges means increased commercial activities, which in turn will lead to greater income and financial security for the people of this beautiful region.
An emphasis will be placed on reducing road fatalities seen along the Essequibo coast through the installation of traffic lights, street lights, and the placement of road markings and signs. There will also be a focus on improving the connection between the Essequibo coast and the rivering areas.
Government recognizes just how much inadequate river transportation networks stymie the development of the coast and its people, and a major part of the slated improvement is through the upgrade of the aging fleet of vessels currently under government's control. These vessels are quickly approaching the end of their usefulness, and the government is therefore working towards acquiring a new river transportation vessel.
Government is also looking to upgrade stellings and wharves to facilitate the proposed new vessels. Minister Patterson also informs of plans to have a state-of-the-art waterfront facility at Suriname.
You may ask, what will the benefits of such a project be to the Essequibo coast? This initiative will not only generate income through tourism, but it will also create opportunities for small business development. This initiative will also provide an outlet for the people of Essequibo to come and mingle in a clean, healthy, friendly, and safe environment.
Region 2 contributes meaningfully to Guyana's development. but has faced and is still facing its fair share of problems, including a shortage of well-developed infrastructure, leading to increased production costs in a region where production is paramount. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
The repossession of core homes is in keeping with the Central Housing and Planning Authority's mandate to reallocate these homes to low-income persons. Details in this report.
Minister within the Ministry of Communities, Valerie Sharp-Patterson, explains that the Central Housing and Planning Authority is seeking to repossess the houses from the persons who had breached the agreement that allowed them to qualify for the houses.
These persons went through a process to qualify, yet they have not occupied. And what we found when we went out into the fields, some of them have rented the homes. And they're making money off of it. Now, that was not the objective. Some have put other relatives in it, and some of the houses are just left there.
The minister explains that the ministry is seeking to return possession of these properties to the Housing Authority to make them available to persons who qualify.
We cannot reallocate because they have titles to those homes. Yes. They've already received their transports, yeah. So in order, and we have lots of requests out there, but for us to meet the demand, we have to go through a repossession process, which is causing much controversy.
And that's costly, it's time.
It is costly because all those persons paid is $92,000 for the house, for the land. And they didn't pay anything else. So, it has us rethinking whether it's worthwhile doing it again.
The Core Homes project, which sparked widespread interest, is aimed at addressing affordability and accessibility to housing for low-income populations to low-income families. The project, funded through a Government of Guyana Inter-American Development Bank collaboration, targeted single parents, the differently abled and the elderly who are living in buildings of low standards. 400 houses were constructed under the project, which closed on June 30, 2015. The ministry has recommended 69 homes for repossession. For the Government News Brief, I'm Tiffany Rogers.
National unity is the ultimate tool for moving Guyana forward, Minister of State Joseph Harmon tells Region 3 residents. More in this report.
If we work together as a country, irrespective of what our political affiliations are, that we can move this country for the good of our people. And ultimately, that is what we need to do. We have to ensure that whatever we do is for the benefit of the Guyanese people. That is our motto. That is what we want to do. That is what our administration said it will do when we campaigned in 2015. That we will create a good life for all Guyanese. And this is what we meant. All Guyanese, not some.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon was at the time delivering a feature address at the regional flag-raising ceremony at the Leonora Synthetic Track, West Coast Demerara on May 25. He acknowledged the contributions of all the governments that would have served over the years. He, however, noted that 2016 and beyond requires a different type of leadership, which the APNU-AFC government is demonstrating.
As I said, a certain quality of leadership. In 1966, the imperative of that time was that our people come together. We come together to deal with the issues of colonialism. We come together to deal with the conditions under which our people lived in the lodges and in the shacks where they lived. The poor roads, no lights, poor water supply. These were some of the conditions our political leaders met at the time of independence. Some of these conditions persist into 2016, and these are some of the same conditions we as a government we have to deal with. But we believe that we can only achieve this if we work together as a nation.
Minister of State reminded that government is placing major emphasis on education and creating an environment where university students are guaranteed a job when they graduate. The gathering was treated to cultural items in the form of dance, song, and poems depicting the country's cultural history. For the Government News Brief, Senegal Thorne reporting.
Region 7 school gets gift of music for Guyana's 50th independence anniversary. Here are the details.
The Bartica Secondary School had more to celebrate than Guyana's 50th independence anniversary. They are the recipients of a new steel orchestra. Region 7 Chairman Gordon Bradford explains that this gift is a promise fulfilled.
During the 2015 election campaign, a promise was made by our leader, our then opposition leader, now president, and our own fellow Bartican. And one of those promises that was made is that during his tenure as president of the Cooperative Republic of Ghana, each region must have a regional steel orchestra. And so tonight, that promise is being fulfilled.
Now Bartica Secondary Steel Orchestra is sponsored by the Guyana Oil Company.
This was made possible by a Guyanese company that is run by Guyanese for the people of Guyana. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Guyana Oil Company, Guyana. They have made it possible by sponsoring the steel orchestra that you see there. They have also adopted the Bartica Secondary School. And I think you need to give some noise, make some noise for that again. And so the Bartica Secondary School is in good hands.
The Bartica Steel Orchestra performed 2 musical pieces for the night to rouse in applause and words of encouragement. Students are being trained from Monday to Friday through a collaborative effort by the Department of Culture, Youth and Sport and the Guyana Police Force.
I wish to thank those persons who are responsible for training the members, and first of all, Mr. or I should say Corporal Aswad from the Guyana Police Force is being loaned to us for 1 month through the good auspices of our commander, made it possible, and he is up here helping to train these children. And I wish you to put your hands together for Mr. Aubrey Bradford too, who will be working full-time with the steel orchestra. And together we can do it, and we will do it.
The acquisition of the steel orchestra at a cost of more than $3 million is in keeping with the Ministry of Education's drive to offer students a more rounded education. For Government News Brief, I am Kidaki Amsterdam.
That concludes today's edition of the Government News Brief. The details of these and other stories can be found on GINA's website. We encourage you to subscribe to our website and YouTube channel. You can also like and follow us on Facebook to be updated as the news unfolds. Do join us again next week for another edition of the Government News Brief. Thank you for watching and have a safe weekend.